So following on from last week, which was my highest mileage to date, or as I normally work in kilometerage to date, if that is a word, which it definitely isn't. We started Monday with my usual 14k easy run. It was interesting. I warmed up 3 times. So, I've been having shin splints. I've developed a warm-up routine, which, if I'm doing it properly, takes about 20 minutes. I think it helps, even if it is just psychologically, it gives me the peace of mind. But we arranged, so my guide Andy and I arranged for a time to meet, so I did my warm-ups in preparation for that. And then it got delayed, so, it was a good enough time that I knew I'd have to warm up again. Did the warm-up again, got delayed. And so I had to do a warm-up again for the 3rd time. Andy won't mind me saying this, I hope. And, it's no one's fault. It's just the way life is. But yeah, so finally managed to get on the run. And I thought, great, I've done 3 warm-ups. My body is feeling good. I've always said that rest days, I feel like, are the things that make my body worse and makes my runs feel worse. I thought, great, I'm feeling good. The temperature is now so much warmer as well, which really helps. And so we set off, and it just felt so difficult. And I feel like I'm repeating myself on most Mondays by saying how difficult each run feels. But yeah, it really did. It felt that my body still felt stiff. It felt painful. My shins sort of hurt, but it's sort of not as intense as it used to be. And I definitely think that is because I take a day off, rest. And then there's this bit that we usually do, which is in the countryside, sort of in fields. And I think it's probably only a kilometre long of the stretch that we do. But it felt like it was going on for miles, and we even stopped in the middle to take a picture because there was all the plants are aligned and you could see it. I'll put it in the video clip so that you can also see it. But yeah, it just seemed to take forever. And then sort of we did our usual route, and on the way back, it was probably about 3 kilometers before the end of the run, and it just started feeling good again. And it's like it's funny how it takes that long for a run to feel good. Out of the 14 kilometers, 11 felt tough, and 3 we went just over, so 3 and a bit felt good. But it makes me learn, and I suppose I teach myself that it doesn't matter if it starts off difficult, it gets easier, and you can overcome that physical cold and the mental cold, and once you get into the groove of it, it feels all good. Tuesdays was my interval session. It was at half marathon speeds. It was 5 lots of 8 minutes at half marathon pace. And I always think the first interval of a speed session sets your mood for the rest of it. Like if you feel a niggle, a negative thought, a doubt, then it's going to be a struggle for every single bit that you do. And if the first one goes well, you sort of fill yourself with confidence, and each one just seems so much easier and less difficult than it normally would. And this time, it was the easy one. The first rep felt great. When the 8 minutes were done, I was like, wow, that didn't feel like much, which makes sense because you should be able to run half marathon pace for the entirety of a half marathon. So 8 minutes is not a long time. There were 2 minutes jogging recovery in between. And yeah, each rep just felt comfortable. Like I thought I could do it forever. I was just in the groove. The motion felt fluid, and it was just a really good run. To the point where on the last rep, as always, whether this is good or not, I did it at the top end of my half marathon pace, and it still felt comfortable. So I was very, very pleased with how Tuesday's session went. So Wednesday was our midweek long run, and I shall title it Bins and Trees, because if there was a marathon in slalom running, we would ace it, because there was bin after bin after bin, and in between there were trees after trees after trees. So we were swerving in and out. It took some impressive guiding from Andy and some impressive responsive times from me. But that makes up for Monday when Andy made me step in horse poo. But yeah, Wednesday was a good long run, midweek long run. And yeah, just an enjoyable run where everything again felt good. It felt comfortable. It was at a good pace. Struggled towards the end, but we had started quite late. So I think that was just the day being on top of us, and Andy had been sitting in a car for 4 hours, and so that can't be good. But we agreed one of those days where it was good to have someone else to run with, because we motivated each other. And I think this is where the guide / blind runner thing works, whereby we're not just sort of, being the guide and me being the responsive person, but we sort of motivate each other and keep each other in check, which I think really helps. It means you always have someone in your corner, and that's a nice part of the relationship. So Thursdays is no longer a rest day, so I did an easy 5k, and I thought just to give it a little oomph, a little zest, to add in strides in the last kilometre and a half, whereby I do 4 lots of strides and do them sort of at my maximum speed, as in my, I suppose, sprint speed, just to get the heart rate up, just to get some blood flow to the legs and just to test things out. I think it will help, just in terms of instead of just keeping it a basic, very slow run, it will just give my body that something else. But we shall see how that goes. And that leads us to Friday. And Friday was hill sessions. In my training block, which is every 4 weeks, I tend to have 2 hill sessions, which doesn't seem like a lot, but on every single run that I do outside, which is 3 times a week, there are hills. So where we live, it's quite undulating, quite hilly. So I get that exercise in on those runs, which I think have really helped my overall progress. But Friday's hill sessions was the treadmill at 10% incline, going at my top end 10k speed, and doing reps at 30 seconds with a minute rest in between, so you don't get too tired. There were 12 reps, but towards the end I started feeling it, and towards the end I also brought the pace up, because that's just what I do. But it felt comfortable. Comfortable but tough, so it wasn't like I was dying at the end of it, but I wasn't too relaxed at the end of it. In terms of mileage or kilometers, it's not a lot because it's just 30-second reps, but the work it does on the top parts of your legs, whatever they're called, it felt like a good workout. And hills are one of the things that I hate or complain about the most, but I think do have a lot of benefits, and I think it's really important to have them. That's my Saturday long run done, and I am dead. It is very, very warm and hot. There's relatively no cover from the sun, and it was a marathon sandwich. So we did 10k at marathon pace, split into two 5k blocks with a k recovery, and we did both 5 blocks way quicker than marathon pace, which is good because we felt good. But towards the end, just on the last 4k back home, it felt tough, it felt difficult. And obviously the heat had stuff to do with that, and the sun, and the fact that 5k of that 10k marathon block was in headwind, which meant we were working double as hard. But the fact that we did it, and even though it feels tough, it fills me with confidence, and it gives me the ability to dig deep when it gets difficult and continue. And so it trains my mind to say, yes, I can do this, I will do this, and I'm confident in my abilities. So a good end to a high mileage week with a difficult long run.